I mean, that's literally like when me and my friend Ryan had like our best idea ever, which is I got an inflatable pool from like Walmart for like $30, filled up with water, and then had a little cooler with beer in it. We just kicked it back and forth because we sat up lawn chairs inside the pool. And I was like, oh my God, we're geniuses. We are geniuses.
Was this during college or was this like last week?
Oh, this is like earlier this summer.
It's that time again. Time for the all-new Culture Cast, which begins right now.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Nick, and with me once again is
Cousin Charles.
And we're continuing on our discussion from last time, in which we are going to talk about our version of the DCEU, because the current version ain't working, and it's a hot mess. And Zaslav has this mysterious 10-year plan that no one apparently on the film side even knew about existed. So we decided to, if we were in charge, what would we do to create a DC cinematic world here? So I have my notes. I'm sure you have yours.
Yes.
I'm going to be excited to see how ours compare and contrast. And I know we're not the only people who've done this. Like every nerd on the internet has probably done this in some way, shape, or form.
It's honestly a fun writing exercise because you start to think about, because it really goes into your own personal knowledge of like, what do I know about DC Comics, and like, what do I think would be fun like movie ideas? But then you also have to think of like how to build that structure. So I actually really enjoyed coming up with the ideas for this.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to do my plan first? I'm fine either way.
Do you mind if I go first?
I will go first. Okay, so starting. No, just kidding. Go for it. I want to. Okay, we can go, and as we go through here, we can I'll ask you questions about how things all work, and to go off there. But before we begin, can I just say something? Mm-hmm. What Warner Brothers was trying to do by like building up to a team up movie first and then spinning off a bunch of other movies after that, I think is a very valid plan.
Yes.
Not everyone needs to do Marvel, where each person has to have their own movie, and then you do the team up movie, because then audiences will know who all the characters. You don't need to do it like that. I think the execution was not great, but I think the build up was valid. And years ago, when Marvel first started, I thought to myself, I'll save it. Never mind. I'll save it for my time. So I just want to say that's I think what Marvel. Let's start this over. What Warner Brothers did is valid. It just didn't work, and so let's see what we could come up with, because clearly we're going to be armchair movie producers.
Yes.
And
our budgets are unlimited.
Unlimited budgets. So, Cuz, tell me, what's your tell me about your master plan for DC Comics.
My 10-year Gorbachev master plan for the DC gulag is this. So I took a little bit of I based on elements from the New 52 and from the Rebirth era of DC Comics.
Boo! Just like I'm just screwing around.
A lot
the new 50 poo.
Yeah. Look,
I like the new 50. I don't care. I just the internet nerds are just ridiculous. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go on.
They are ridiculous, but they're wonderfully ridiculous. But also, like, I did mirror a lot of what Marvel did, just because if it worked and that's clearly what they want to do, I might as well. I mean, just like kind of like how the entire MCU is based loosely on the Ultimates comics. That's kind of why I based a lot of my elements from the New 52/Rebirth era. So my idea kind of takes place. So did you ever read in the New 52 the Earth 2 series?
I started reading it, and then I felt it was spinning its wheels too much, so I stopped after the first story arc. But I like the idea of it.
Yes, and so did I, because when I was really reading into comics, there was a website that posted a bunch of comic books for free. So sorry, piracy does work. I'm sorry, people, it does. But anyhow,
But you need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
go ahead. I'd like to see Johnny Law get old Chucky B. As I play this line in court. But no, that's how I kind of. That is how I kind of was reading a lot of comics, was through this website. And that including the New 52 Earth 2 series, which I thought started with a great, kind of like a great premise right off the start, because it's very apocalyptic, but also very kind of like hopeful, because that series starts with basically the DC Trinity, or a version of the DC Trinity. You got Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman dying to save the world from an apocalypse invasion. That's how that story begins. And then it, like, I think fast forwards like 5 years, and we have the rise of new heroes. So I really like that idea. So this is the so for my version of DC films, kind of like aping Marvel, I'm doing what I'm calling the Dark Side Saga. Kind of like so phase 1 is going to be us building up the team. So we got So the first movie is going to be Justice League Rebirth, which I wrote down. After old league is defeated, a new league is formed to take on a new threat. Which,
now, a question for you: is this a continuation of what already existed, or is this fresh start right now?
So I kind of went back and forth. In one version, when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, do we do fresh start? But I'm going to go with I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to say it is a continuation of the Snyderverse.
Okay.
In the sense of our first 10, 15 minutes of the movie, we see Ben Affleck Batman dying. We see we see the Flash kind of sacrifice himself in going so fast, try to go so fast that he actually just vaporizes, like just kind of fades into existence. Like he's trying to save too many people, he's just like vibrates into the Speed Force and is just gone. Again, the only thing I would say is that in my version of the team, there would be a mentor figure, which I either have down as it being either Cyborg or Aquaman. Wonder Woman would die, and then Superman would sacrifice. So this is actually a really cool idea I had. So instead of Steppenwolf, that was leading, because I think that's what happened in the Earth 2 comic. Steppenwolf led the invasion. I actually had Darkseid's son, Calabac, leading the invasion, trying to prove himself, and then as he's about to get defeated because Superman is Superman, he injects himself with something and becomes a version of Doomsday, and then Superman uses a power that was introduced in the New 52 where it's like where it basically explodes all the solar radiation with his body as like a huge bomb to take out this Calabac Doomsday hybrid. And that's how that's how Henry Cavill's Superman dies. And basically the only mentor figure that I would have would either be Cyborg, but he's in a computer. So just kind of like a hologram, like I'm in the Justice League systems. Or you have old man Aquaman, where he's kind of I imagine him again, kind of typical, it's Aquaman from the 90s. He's got a hook hand. He's got long hair. He's grayed out. He's kind of bitter. He's made Atlantis kind of this isolationist kingdom because he's never again am I getting involved with matters of the surface world kind of deal. And then the team but one of those two would be a mentor, leading this new team of Justice Leaguers. Which I've got a interesting kind of lineup. So I will say my lineup kind of loosely reflects the animated Justice League show from the early 2000s. So I kind of I have characters sort of filling in each role. The only one that I didn't want to substitute was Hawkgirl. I really wanted Hawkgirl to be we could do whatever version of it, whether she's Thanagarian, whether she's like, reincarnated, whatever. I know the Hawks in DC are fucking weird, and they've got a lot of different versions, so we could figure out that later of like which version we're taking on. Alien from another planet or like mystical reincarnation bullshit. But anyhow, so here's what I got. So to fill in the Superman role, I was either going to have either Jonathan Kent from the Rebirth era, Supergirl, like Kara Danvers, or Power Girl, which was the one featured in the Earth 2 comics. So one of those three would fill in the role of Superman. I wasn't really sure which one. For Batman, again, going back to the New 52 Earth 2, I had Huntress. I also had Damian Wayne. I also had Nightwing take on Batman. And then if it was Nightwing being the kind of filling in the Batman role, I would have Nightwing and Damian Wayne kind of like as that Batman and Robin pairing.
Okay.
Green Lantern.
So would you explain where Damian came from?
Very loosely. Like he would be like in this kind of like final, like, again, the movie would start with this big final battle to like save the world. Like there's a big doomsday device, and like Nightwing's in the background, and like Batman's like, I gotta do it. I gotta blow up the bomb. Tell Damian I'm sorry, or something like that, as he's talking to like whichever version of who's ever filling that role, whether that be Huntress, Nightwing, heck, it could even be Batgirl at this point. So, but yeah, there would be a brief kind of mention. I'm going with the assumption. So I really like one of the reasons, this is a side note, I really like the Batman is because it's like, it's trusting the audience. You know who these characters are. You don't need them explained. You know who Batman is. He's rich, he's crazy, and he beats up criminals. So I'm kind of going with that same sort of mentality of like, you all have a general understanding of who these characters are. They've been around for 80 years. They're pretty much Greek mythology at this point. Like we all have a basic understanding. So those would be kind of like two of our so those would be kind of filling like the roles of like our fallen heroes. I would introduce a Green Lantern, and there's too many to pick from, so I just kind of wrote down any Green Lantern. So literally, since there wasn't one in the Snyderverse, I'm not going to say, oh, this is a new Lantern filling in for an old one. So you can do Alan Scott, you do Hal Jordan, John. I particularly would probably lean more towards John Stewart, just because a lot of more people my age would probably recognize him being a Green Lantern from again, go back to the DC animated show. Guy Gardner. I know there's two new ones, like a Jessica Cruz and Simon Bazis or something like that.
Yes, Simon Baz.
Kyle Rayner. Again, literally just any Green Lantern. You could just throw a dart on the board, and that's your Green Lantern for this new version. I didn't really nail it down. Same thing with the Flash. I just picked any but Barry, because Ezra Miller kind of tainted that one. So the one really cool idea I did have to fill in the role of the Flash was, besides your classic Flashes like Jay Garrick or Wally West, or even Bart Allen, if you want to get weird with it, is I had an idea, like, what if like Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash, came back in time saying, I'm here to help, I'm the Flash of the future, or something like that, and everyone just accepts that because it's like, or he just says, I'm the new Flash or something like that, and everyone just accepts that because like, yeah, no, they don't know any different, they don't know what the future holds. And then it's like, in a later movie reveal that, or at the end of the movie, he's like, what's your actual name? Eobard Thawne. And it's like, people are like,
all the neckbirds in the audience will be like, oh,
exactly. Then it's like, oh, when's Flash going to go turncoat or something like that? So I thought that was kind of like a fun idea to have. For Wonder Woman, I had to kind of fill in that role. I had 4 choices, depending on how I was going to. So I had Big Barda, Zatanna, Raven, or Donna Troy. And then lastly, I had kind of filling in like the Martian Manhunter role. I had a couple of names listed down. I had Red Tornado, Shazam, or Black Adam, just because they would be, mainly because I was like, okay, well, either two of those characters would be existing from before, and I'd like to bring them over into this new version of the DC stuff. And then, I don't know, Red Tornado or Martian Manhunter. They're both very fun characters. Kind of alien, pretty quiet, don't really get humanity. So it's like, those would be fun. So that's my first big movie. So I'm going with the classic. I'm going with start with the big movie, and then I've got like 5 smaller movies that for phase 1, which I can get just I don't have much on them, but I had a Untitled Superman where he fought Lex Luthor, Untitled Batman, Court of
Would it be Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor?
No, I'm going to say this is Lex Luthor. I'm going to say Lex Luthor Senior. So Jesse Eisenberg's dad, and then you get like literally anybody else.
So if the first movie is a big battle, and I may have missed this when you were saying it. What's the story? The old Justice League is killed, and the new one rise up to stop for like revenge, essentially.
I'm going to say, so the idea that I've written down is that there's going to be a new threat, which is either a leftover from Darkseid's first invasion, aka like Doomsday is coming back or something like that. Like, because I imagined it like Superman flew like towards space and like blew himself up, and everybody thought he killed like Calabac / Doomsday, but like recent satellite images show there's a large an object that's creeping towards Earth, and we've only got about like a month before it makes planetside impact, and they know they're like, it's Doomsday, he's back. Gotcha. Or the other idea was like Solomon Grundy, like it was like an effect of like the different apocalyptic technologies made this giant zombie monster man, and he's going on a rampage and needs to be stopped. So basically, that's your typical, we gotta get the band back together because now one hero can stop a threat like that. So that was my idea for the first movie. Or and then it was kind of going to end, and then like again, I had a Batman Court of Owls movie, an Untitled Wonder Woman or Hawkgirl movie. I will say the only casting I got, I don't know why I gravitated towards Hawkgirl. I think I really liked her in the animated show growing up. But check this out, nerds. Ana de Armas as Hawkgirl.
Oh, it's so great. People either love it or say you're being too woke.
Probably, but you're telling me that one get asses in seats?
No, not at all. I agree. I think she's a great actress, and I think she could do a really good job. I just envision the internet comments like, she's too skinny.
Yeah. She needs to be bulked up. And the other two I had was a Green Lantern and Flash buddy cop, and then a Black Adam versus Shazam. So depending on who actually ended up on the team, they would fight the other version.
Okay.
So that's my phase 1.
Okay, so that's how it ends phase 1. Does it build to anything like the first Avengers movie did?
There's a lot of no, not necessarily. I thought about it, but I haven't really. I know what phase 2 and phase 3 are going to look like, but I don't know how to connect them fully.
Okay.
I was figuring you can help me fill in that gaps of like, how do we get to phase 2 and 3? Because I figure like I've been talking long enough, so I want to hear some of your ideas.
Oh, you want me to go all the way? Because I have 3 waves. I call them acts because Warner Brothers is going to be different than Marvel. That we don't do phases, we do acts.
Because it's all one big story. Oh fuck, that's so fucking stupid. It's probably going to happen.
That or they won't use, Warner Brothers will never use the word phase, but they'll use like acts or wave or something. I don't know.
That's so stupid. It's going to probably happen. It's
the way I did it. Mine's a wholesale reboot. I took the assignment like as if the Snyder stuff never happened or anything, and they came to me, said, Nick, how would you do? We want your plan for a DC Universe movie series. How would you do it? I'm like, I'm glad you asked, because here's how I will do it. And I've been thinking about this for years now, going all the way back to like when the first Iron Man movie hit, like how would DC do something like this? And so some of these ideas may have been and may have ended up in actual DC movies in one way, shape, or form. So my first act was well, let me go back. Originally, way long time ago, I thought it'd be fun to do, like we were talking about how like DC did like the team up movie, then the spin-offs.
Yep.
If they did a Batman Superman movie, then a Batman Superman Wonder Woman movie, and then the trilogy topper, a Justice League movie. I thought that would be kind of cool, and then all the other characters would spin off from that. That's not part of this plan, and it's not far off from what DC actually or what Warner Brothers actually did. But anyway, this is be my plan. So the first act, all feature individual sort of characters, similar to how the first Marvel phase was.
One. Phase one.
Phase one. The first one would be a Superman movie, which I keep in mind I came up with this long before, titled Man of Steel. I guess it'd be called Superman Man of Steel, but in my version, the title actually makes sense. It's less of a Superman origin movie and more of a Clark Kent origin movie.
Okay.
In so much that it takes place about 6 months to a year after Superman popping into town. He and Lois are already in a relationship, so Lois knows that he's Clark Kent, so we don't have to retread any of that ground. Mm-hmm. And Clark is trying to find, like, what does he do? What does he need to do? He's kind of bouncing around job to job. He doesn't know he can't be Superman all the time. Maybe he should be Superman all the time, but he wants to do something to make him feel more connected to the people of Earth. Okay. He doesn't know about his origin other than that he's a spaceman, and he keeps getting like flashes of like his past, but he doesn't know what it means. And it won't even be addressed too much in this movie other than that he knows that he's in the past. He knows that he has a spaceship. And then as the movie goes on, Clark discovers that maybe being a reporter to what Lois does is something that would be beneficial to him. And Lois ultimately will help him get a job with the Daily Planet.
Of course.
What other things happen in this movie is the main villain is Morgan Edge.
Oh, okay.
Who secretly runs Intergang. And Morgan Edge has really a one-sided rivalry with Lex Luthor. Luthor sees, because Morgan Edge is also like a big businessman.
Right.
And Luthor sees Edge as like, yeah, he's a competitor, but he's like, whatever. I'm Lex Luthor. I don't give a shit who this guy is. Morgan Edge sees Luthor as like, super. I gotta take him down so I can be number one. And to that end, he funds Intergang, and as a part of Intergang, they discover, and there's going to be more to it, but long story short, they discover Clark's spaceship, and they use that technology to create a cyborg named Metallo.
Oh, okay, I love that. I love this so far.
Who's the heavy in the movie. And Metallo is going to be a sympathetic character. We learn that he's another Daily Planet reporter who, a little shady, but heart of gold, who's investigating Intergang. And he gets in too deep, and he gets injured or something. They take him, and they use the technology to turn him into this cyborg character with a kryptonite heart, because they found some kryptonite on the ship somehow. And so he just doesn't know what's going on, and he's kind of in control. He's kind of losing his humanity. So like Metallo is a literal man of steel who's a human losing his mentality, whereas Superman is a man of steel who's trying to gain his humanity.
Oh my god! Oh my god, that's brilliant!
Themes.
Oh my god!
As the movie goes on, Metallo is kind of like almost mind controlled by Morgan Edge to kill Luthor, and of course Superman intervenes, and ultimately he's able what's his name, the John Colbert, who played the real Metallo's
Corbin.
na-
John Corbin.
Corbett, yeah, who's he's able to like snap out of it very quickly and is able to like either shut himself down or able to like control it. Also featured in the movie will be John Henry Irons, who was a former Luther Corp employee who was trying to create like a steel armor suit that didn't go anywhere, and he was fired for it. And
like for the military
and,
or some shit like that.
yeah, doesn't matter. But he was somehow able to keep all the patents to it.
Okay.
And he kind of comes in the fray to help Superman, take down Metallo. So another Man of Steel. And so eventually Morgan Edge is revealed as the bad guy. He's arrested. Superman discovers how to connect with humanity. And Luther, in a scene taken straight out of the comics, gets control of Corbin's body. And Corbin's like kind of awake. And he's like, Luther, you saved me? Like, oh, yes. I'm interested in what they did to you. Maybe I can help you. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. I think this green energy thing, Superman was weakened by it. It's like, oh, really? This thing? Huh. And he just reaches in and yanks the kryptonite heart out of him, which kills Metallo. And he's like, that's when we kind of first learn of Luther's villainy. And he's interested in the kryptonite. So that's how Man of Steel would be.
That sounds amazing. I would love to see that movie because I can
It's
already imagine.
Superman movie, right?
Yeah, that sounds fucking cool. That's like
keep it simple and build your way up. Wait till you see what I have in mind for the second one. The next movie in here would be an Aquaman movie, which I titled Aquaman King of Atlantis.
Okay.
And this Aquaman he's not going to be a bro, but he's definitely more boisterous, like, haha, welcome to Atlantis. I'll still kick your ass, but you're my friends.
So like the Aquaman
kind of like a Thor sort of personality, but
I was gonna say, or the Aquaman from the Brave and the Bold cartoon.
Yeah, I guess kind of like that too, but not as like doofus.
Okay. You gotta make him say outrageous.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
And in this one, I'm not the biggest Aquaman know-it-all, so it would be kind of a quest movie where the different kingdoms of Atlantis are sort of warring, and Aquaman, who's already the king, is like, I gotta solve this. And he had an idea of, well, there's a mystical thing of a Poseidon's Triton or something like that, which turns out to be the plot of the actual Aquaman movie that we got. That's coincidental, where it becomes like a globe hopping adventure.
So what you're saying is Warner Brothers owes you a very big check.
Yeah, right. It becomes like a globe hopping adventure, and maybe it's kind of like an Indiana Jones sort of thing, because his brother is trying to get it as well, and he feels if he gets it, he'll be able to unite the kingdoms and become the real king of Atlantis, sort of thing. So
not bad. That's
pretty standard. Again, I'm a big Superman guy, not as big as Aquaman guy, so there's that. The next would be a Wonder Woman movie. And I called it Wonder Woman Man's World, where it's Wonder Woman's experience in, the world for the first time, which I don't have a good plot outline because the first Wonder Woman movie I think did it so well. I don't know what I would do with it that wouldn't be too original, but you're laughing. What's funny?
I've got a really stupid idea for a Wonder Woman movie.
Hit me with it.
I'm sorry, I'm tickling myself too much. So the movie takes place. Wonder Woman works in an office building. It's her, Cheetah, and Dolly Parton, and they kidnap their boss, Steve Trevor. And it's basically just 9 to 5 at that point. It's just 9 to 5. There's no subtlety or anything. It's just the movie 9 to 5.
9 to 5. Why not? Why not? But that would be the next one in there. This next movie I've given more thought to.
Okay.
The next three, there's 3 more movies in Act 1, which I've given more thought to. This one is the first Flash movie. I've titled it Flash versus the Rogues, and this one's just meant to be a fun romp. And Barry Allen's kind of been around for a little bit. He's learning to be the Flash. And well, the creation of it. But at the same time, the Rogues are starting to team up. They've already kind of existed already, and Flash's idea to put on a costume is that to mirror these costume criminals.
Okay.
And so, but the story is that it honestly it focuses as much on the Rogues as much as on Flash. Captain Cole is the leader, and there's like your Mirror Master, your Heat Wave, maybe Pied Piper's in it because he does a heel turn. And then with this, Captain Cold's sister,
Golden Glider.
Golden Glide joins up with her boyfriend, Chillblaine, who Captain Cold hates. He's like, I don't like this guy.
God, this is fucking great.
He's bad news. And it turns out he's right, because Chillblaine does betray the Rogues later on, gets Golden Glider killed, and Cold is out for revenge. Meanwhile, Flash is learning to be Flash. It's more of not a comic, but he's just kind of doesn't know what it is to totally be a hero. He's missing out on dates. He's trying to stop these villains. Eventually, by the end of it, Chillblaine does, and I don't have the full details on this. Chillblaine does something that's causing trouble to the whole town. Like maybe he takes Captain Cold's guns and doesn't know how to use them right, and it's causing destruction everywhere.
It's creating a giant eternal winter. It's going to freeze all of Central City.
Perfect. And the Flash actually then, who's early in the movie, before the third act, he actually imprisons all the Rogues, gets them in jail, but turns on like, listen, I need your help. You need to help me take down this guy. And they agree because Cold wants revenge. Except for Pied Piper, who he decides, no, I'm a bad guy. I'm going to stay in jail. You guys go and do this without me. Because he decides, or he goes and comes back. Because Pied Piper is one who's gone evil and becomes good in the comics. So they'll kind of play on that. Eventually they stop it. And it has a slight dark ending where Chillblaine thinks he escapes. But Cold catches up with him and like freezes him in a lake. Flash doesn't know about it because all that happens there.
Right,
so,
like, oh, he got away.
Yeah, and part of this also deals with Flash learning. He runs so fast, he accidentally time travels. Like there's a small section where he time travels like 30 years in the future, and we meet an adult Wally West. And the adult Wally West, you meet regular Wally West in the movie, and at the end of the movie there'll be a hint that he gets powers too. But the adult Wally West gives Barry like the third act where like the hero's down on his luck and needs like a pep talk. The adult Wally West kind of does that, and it's like Wally knew that he was going to be coming. Like, I knew you're going to be coming this way because this I've seen this before, and so Flash is able to manipulate time, go back in time, save the day, and hijinks ensue.
Actually, I got a really good idea. I want to add to that of how he goes back in time. So, Chillblaine, is that what it is? I can't remember. Okay.
I don't care.
Yeah,
he's a stupid character.
He is. There's a lot of ice villains in DC Comics, and he's one of them. But I got the idea. So I think like Barry's trying to. So kind of like the one thing I would add is Barry's trying to like stop like this. I'm assuming like this encroaching glacier that's encasing all of Central City. And he's like, if I go really fast, I'll create enough heat, I'll create enough friction and enough heat, I'll be able to melt the ice. And that's how he ends up going back in time or going forward in time, is because he's going so fast to try to create enough friction to melt the ice or to stop it that he's actually that's what triggers him to go time traveling.
That's a good idea. Yeah, something will trigger it. And a couple of these ideas I've pulled from the comics.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of that. But overall, the tone of the Flash movie is supposed to be fun. It's kind of a bit like good guys versus bad guys sort of thing, but kind of develops that character there. The next movie is the Superman sequel.
Okay.
And this one's called Last Son of Krypton.
All right, excited.
my goal of this is to be like the definitive Superman movie. And maybe I ripped off too many comics blatantly on this one, but here you go.
Look, Hollywood's done it already, so you don't feel bad.
So the movie starts off with Superman fighting Bizarro, and it's revealed that Lex Luthor created a Bizarro clone to test Superman to see how powerful he actually is.
Okay.
Superman fights Bizarro and is able to get him calmed down in the middle of the street. Like, this is your opening sequence in the movie, and then the Bizarro clone just poof explode. Well, not like explosion, but just kind of like poof,
Poof. Yeah.
Just, and Superman's like, I didn't hit him, and he learns through like what the material he was wearing that it came from Luthor. So Superman goes to visit Luthor, and Luthor's like, I don't know anything. We make a lot of stuff, and someone could have put that suit on that monster. It's weird. It's not me. Superman doesn't quite buy it, but he's like, I'm gonna be watching you.
I've got
So
a dozen
Lex-
lawyers who will tell me that who
Yeah.
will tell you that I'm no way in shape involved with this.
So that's the thing that happens. And meanwhile, in space, Brainiac is coming towards Earth. In fact, there'll be a pre-title sequence, I think, where you see a flashback on Krypton where Brainiac took the bottled city of Kandor and took it up in his spaceship. The city of Kandor, they developed a technology on Brainiac's ship where they're able to actually, they got one person to escape the bottle,
Oh.
and they crash landed on Earth. And who is this person that escaped the bottle? Supergirl,
Yay!
or so we'll think for the longest time. So Clark meets Supergirl, and she kind of Swiss cheese brain for everything she went through. But he's excited to meet someone else. He starts learning about Krypton for the first time. She's able to create the Fortress of Solitude, and he also tells him, like, I escaped this guy Brainiac. He's coming to Earth. This is bad. And meanwhile, Luthor, through his technology, learns Brainiac's come before anyone else on Earth, and Luthor's able to digitally project himself on the spaceship. And Brainiac's like, who the hell are you? And Luthor's like, I'm Luthor. Let's team up. And because Luthor has a plan saying, like, you know what? If you take care of this Superman guy for me, and you can take one of our cities, as long as you let me save the city, so it looks like, I stopped you, and then you move on. Brainiac's like, I don't give a shit, whatever. He's like, all right, fine. So Luthor has his plan to go. So Superman decides to fly up because now other people are seeing this Brainiac thing slowly approach Earth. Superman flies up to go into Brainiac, and Superman's like defeated soundly, and he realizes, hey, you're Kryptonian. Off to the bottle you go. So he pops him in the bottle of Kandor. Meanwhile, on Earth, Superman's missing. No one knows where he is. So the Supergirl tries to take up, and save the day in his place, along with Steel and Lois Lane, kind of like observing all of this.
Right.
When Superman's in the bottle, he kind of loses his powers a little bit, and he meets his extended family. In addition, he also meets Kara Zor-El, who's in the bottle. So Superman's like, wait a second. If you're Kara Zor-El, then who's out there? It's revealed it's going to be a twist, because as she starts doing stuff, she realizes, man, the Earth's sun is kind of bothering me. I got to put on this visor so I can see better. She's really the Eradicator.
Oh my God.
They realized they couldn't actually send someone out, so they created a mechanized person that they used Kara's template, and so she's out being Superman, but being way more violent about things.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Oh my God, that's awesome.
So Steel is on Earth, and he's trying to stop her from being overly violent. And she's like, "You're not doing enough." So there's a little battle there. Lois kind of puts things together because she's doing her own investigation on Luthor, because she knows he's all bad.
Right.
And she's able to find recordings of Luthor working with this Brainiac character. Meanwhile, Brainiac is pretty much on top of Earth, and he announces, I'm going to steal. And because Luthor made contact with him, Brainiac decides, well, I'm going to take Metropolis. That seems like a good spot. So, Brainiac betrayed Luthor. I'm fuzzy on these details, but somehow Steel, Supergirl, and then he and Lois are able to get to the Brainiac ship, and between Lois helping as well as um, uh, Superman learning stuff in the bottle, they're able to break Superman out. Maybe he has enough solar energy, but when Superman's out, he's still very weak. There's not much he can do. So Steel equips him with like a suit to help like save the day. Which
black
he's
suit?
trying to stop a black suit. Well, more of like a mechanicalized suit.
Okay.
And it'll almost be like a joke, like, why am I wearing this? This is absolutely ridiculous. But
Right.
he has no power. He has very limited powers. Superman's battling Brainiac, and Superman's going to be down for the count again until the Eradicator comes and is like, she learned the errors of her ways, and is also like, I know what I need to do. My job is to protect Kryptonian life. I'm gonna protect Kryptonian life, and she's able to like. And again, I'm ripping this straight from the Death of Superman comics. Brainiac tries to like funnel all this energy at Superman to destroy him. The Eradicator Supergirl gets in the way, and it transforms her energy and zaps in the soup, so he gets back to full power. Is able to, maybe Steel will do this because he's the tech guy. He's able to reverse Brainiac's
reverse the
machine.
polarity.
Yeah, where it stops with the shrinking Metropolis, but it inverts it, and Brainiac's ship just implodes on itself. Superman quickly grabs as many bottles, including Kandor, as he can, and flies out of there with Lois, and Steel flies out as well. And Brainiac essentially just collapses in on himself. The FBI come and they arrest Luthor for betraying humanity. In fact, I have a scene worked out where Luthor's just quietly sitting there, and the FBI agents enter his office, and he's like, "What took you so long?" Because he knew his goose was cooked. Because Lois exposed him with the recordings and all that, and that's how that one would. That's how that Superman movie would end.
Already, you've developed movies that I actually would like to see. Like these are, I have ideas for movies, but those are movies I'm like, shit, I really like. When's this coming out? This sounds like a great film.
I know, right? Thank you. So the next movie is my Justice League movie, and that will cap off the first act. Now, let me ask you a question. Did you notice one character that was suspiciously missing from this lineup?
Batman?
That's right. You know why?
My dad.
What's it?
Why dad?
Batman, and Warner Bros. Would never go for this,
No.
but Batman would be the Nick Fury type character who appears. Like in Man of Steel, he'd be in there'll be a sequence in there where Superman saves some rando. And at the post-credits sequence, that rando will come home and reveal himself to be Bruce Wayne. And he's starting to collect data on all these different characters. In The Flash, I have a sequence where this random girl approaches Barry Allen, and he's like, "Yeah, I know you're the Flash." He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And she takes out a batarang and throws it at him, and like hits a wall, and so he recognizes the batarang, and he's like, "Yeah, my associate would like to meet with you," revealing that she's like Barbara Gordon.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
At the end of The Last Son of Krypton, we'd have a cameo, which would then be repeated in Justice League, where Hal Jordan appears as Superman and be like, "Hey, we need your help. Something bad is coming." And that would lead up to Justice League. And then in Justice League, for the capper of the first act, it would largely adapt the Our Worlds at War storyline, where Imperial X comes to Earth. And if you're familiar with Imperial X, he's not like a character who can be talked with, reasoned with. He's literally like a force of nature.
Okay.
And it'll start off with the Green Lanterns transporting this society whose planet was destroyed by Imperial X, and Imperial X drones past the ship. So the Green Lanterns try to come out to stop them. Hal Jordan's partner, what's his name?
Oh, give me a hint. Give me a hint. I'll try.
Sinestro.
What?
The guy who Hal Jordan took over for.
Uh.
Tenno,
No. Fuck.
the purple guy in the
I know.
actual Green
I know what you're talking about. Abin Sur. Abin Sur.
Yeah. So I'm changing some things up. Abin Sur's Hal Jordan's partner, and he sacrifices himself to save everyone there. And so the ring comes off and flies to Earth to get to the next Green Lantern because he's part of that same sector. But they also realize that Imperial X is coming to Earth. So Hal Jordan's like, I gotta go to Earth to warn him, see if we could stop this. So he zips off. The ring ends up in the hand of John Stewart.
Okay.
And John Stewart is going to be like the focal character in Justice League, where he's like the outsider. He's the one having the arc. He's the one who ultimately will save the day. Like first, like, I don't want this ring. What the hell is this? But like he agrees, like, I'll follow you around to see what's going on. So John Stewart Hal Jordan comes to Earth. He talks to Superman, like, yo, Superman, we got a problem. Superman's like, all right, I know this guy named Batman. He might be able to help us, because Batman will have introduced himself somewhere along the lines.
To Hal Jordan or to Superman?
To Superman. I don't know how, but that happens.
Right.
Or they meet in this movie. Doesn't matter. They
get like that rando or something like that we reveal as Bruce Wayne. Like he goes like, Clark, we need to talk.
That works.
Yeah.
And then through Batman and Batgirl will be, well, she's not Batgirl, she's Oracle, but she's like the sidekick at the computer. Maybe she's already in her wheelchair. And they collect the other heroes like Wonder Woman and the Flash, and they're trying to figure out, listen, we gotta stop this thing. There's nothing we could do about it. They learn that one of the target points that this Imperial X probe is going to be is Atlantis. And so Wonder Woman and the Flash, because Wonder Woman knows Atlantis because Themyscira and Atlantis have history. And they go down to like convince Aquaman, like, listen, this shit's going down. It's going to be bad. Aquaman's, nah, it's not going to be that bad. You cray. Meanwhile, we also need like a villain that our heroes can interact with. And we'll learn that Brainiac survived his ordeal, has upgraded to become Brainiac 2, and through reasons has become like a disciple of Imperial X. Maybe he's awed by the power or something. I don't know. So he he's
reprogrammed, or has been reprogrammed to serve Imperial X.
That works too.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like the Loki character in the first Avengers movie. And so, Brainiac comes down to visit the Justice League, saying, "Yeah, Imperial X is going to come. There's nothing you could do about it. I'm his herald." And they try to stop him, and it doesn't work or whatever. And so Imperial X comes down, a probe comes down and attacks Atlantis. So big battle sequence.
Yeah.
Eventually, Aquaman decides, all right, I'm going to join the fray, and they explode the Hal Jordan is able to take the Imperial X probe up and cause it to explode. Everyone thinks Hal is dead. He's not. He's actually captured by Brainiac and Imperial X. So the chips are down. Like, what are we going to do? They see that the actual Imperial X is going to be coming to Earth, and it's going to like go over like central USA. And they realize we don't have enough time to warn the governments about this. We just need to do this now.
Okay.
So they like try to go and make up a plan. They learn that Imperial X is trying to seek purity in the world, in the universe, and he discovers he destroys these planets that Earth is a central crux of not only this world but other worlds potentially as well, and it needs to be destroyed so everything can be pure. As somehow Hal Jordan gets out, and everyone is like, "Yeah, you're alive," and Hal Jordan reveals like, "This is what he's going to do. We got to stop him." So they're trying to come up with a plan. Batman is kind of like the quarterback saying, you do this, you do this, you do this. They ultimately decide one way to stop him is, Flash, you know time travel. And Flash is like, yeah, but I'm not that good at it. And he's like, listen, if you time travel and send Imperial X like years into the future, it gives us time to actually sit down and formulate a legitimate plan. And then when he actually comes, we'll take care of him. It's like, okay, that works. And so he does that, but he screws up. Instead of going forward in time, he goes all the way back to like before creation. And they're able to like, oh, it's before creation. It's like, wait, maybe we could send him back because forces were so bad back then that it would just like destroy him. And so John Stewart, who eventually becomes like he decides to become the hero, finds it in him, is the one like Superman's trying to push him back, Imperial X back. It's not working. John Stewart's the one who actually is able to like take him back, and he falls through the portal back in time as well. And you see Imperial X fall into like the Big Bang, and him having this realization that the impurity that and this is from the comics, the impurity that he recognized was actually him himself. That because he was at the Big Bang. So you see him disintegrate. And then at the same time, because of that, I don't know if this is too cheesy, but Stewart starts seeing all these little mini universes start popping up. It's like he's seen like the multiverse being born.
That's cool.
And at this, right before the portal closes for him to get back, Superman's able to reach in and yank him back before he too is destroyed. And like world is saved. The Justice League are considered heroes. And that's the end of our first act of my DC cinematic world.
That I would love to actually see those movies. That actually sounds a lot more exciting than the shit we actually got. That would get a solid, let's see, the highest score was 76. That would get a solid 80. Those are actually really good movies. So like really good movies.
It sounds exciting, right?
It does. I want to see those versions. That sounds fun. It sounds fun. And I'm actually, let's take a quick intermission. I actually got to piss like a mule. I'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is Nick doing an editor's note. The episode that Cuz and I were doing talking about the DC movies went way too long. So we're going to split this segment into 2 installments. So come back next time as we continue our discussion on how Cuz and I would save the DC cinematic world. See you then. You've been listening to the all-new CultureCast. Follow us on Twitter. Drop us an email at nick.culturecast@gmail.com. We can't promise we'll read it. Theme music by Dana Vodovaz. Check out his work on YouTube at Vodovaz Music Productions. This has been a Saltwater production. Original material copyright 2022. Thanks for listening.